So the question is Christianity countercultural? I got to just simply say, yes, it's been countercultural from the beginning. This is why people were martyred. This is why people were burned at the stake. This is why it happened in such a way that the gospel or the culture or the ethos of Christianity was so different than what was originally there. It was threatening in a sense. It was good news in all of the sense, in its purest form. So I think when I hear questions like that, what we're really asking maybe is flawed from the beginning. Because what we're asking is Christianity as a thought or worldview, is it butting up against other worldviews or other, let's just say, thought processes or ways of seeing, humanity? I think the question is not as Christianity countercultural, but is how is Christianity supposed to engage culture, or what is the way that Jesus, the Christ, engaged culture? So let's not talk about religion or an agenda or a church or a denomination and their perspective of said issue. Let's just say same-sex marriage. Let's just simply ask the better question: how would Christ engage culture? I find it being done in maybe three different ways before we even get there. Number one, I think people engage culture like combatively, where people are the enemy, not the mission, where the people that are in same-sex marriages are us versus them. So you can be combating culture. You can be almost like against it. I think there's another way people engage culture. Let's just say it would be more like a chameleon. They are blending in. It's like they're being influenced by culture, not influencing it. And the people or the mission that's in front of them becomes something where they're just in with all of them, and I'm okay, you're okay, and this morality becomes so subjective in this place. The third way I think people engage culture is a cocoon, where they package away their life and they hide away from the quote-unquote world where everything bad is and everything good is, and the people become the mission to be avoided rather than engaged. And when I read the scriptures, when I read the life of Christ, I can only find the fourth way, the way that we should be countercultural, or the way that Christians, millennial Christians, should be engaging culture. Christianity has always been countercultural. It's the very word of repentance, of turning in one direction that you were going and walking in the other. The way of the Christ is always going to be different than the way of the world, or the way that man would decide is right for them. So it's going to be countercultural at its ethos. Christ offers a different way. But how do we engage culture like Christ? That's really the question. And the fourth way is just simply this: compassionate nonconformity. I think you can be combative to culture. You can be a chameleon and blend in with culture. You can simply be a cocoon and avoid culture, or you can choose the way of the Christ with compassion first and then nonconformity. This compassionate nonconformity that Jesus offers really gives us a way to navigate issues like what's being decided in streets like Malta or the streets where you're from. Is just simply, how do we handle these issues that come up that we're trying to culturally now sort of circumnavigate? Compassionate nonconformity offers the fourth way, or the way of the Christ. So the question that the Acts subscriber asked me was just simply this: is Christianity countercultural, or the new counterculture? Yes, it's been countercultural from the beginning of time. Jesus offers the way of the Christ, not the way of us. The second question they asked was, how do we engage culture? Well, you can cocoon away, where the mission becomes something to be avoided. You can be combative, where the mission is you versus them. You can be a chameleon, where there is no difference between your ethos, your worldview, and what world you're operating in. Or you can take the way of the Christ and have that compassionate nonconformity dictate and drive you down the center line of how we engage culture. That's the best way. And that's truly countercultural. Not who are we blending in to be, but we're salt and light. Not how are we avoiding, but how are we engaging. Not us versus them in this combative, but it's really compassionately non-conforming to the patterns of this world, but bringing heaven to earth, seeking the kingdom, walking in the way of the Christ. That's the best option. Keep swinging away.